Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett. A ventriloquist is a person, especially an entertainer, who can make their voice appear to come from somewhere else, typically a dummy or a puppet of a person or an animal. Well, that's the official definition, so let's talk to a real ventriloquist next on OurTime. And welcome to OurTime. You know, ventriloquism is one of those things that we don't hear so much of as we used to hear back in the days of early TV variety shows. And unless you're very au fait with YouTube clips, you probably haven't seen a real ventriloquist in the flesh, but you're about to. This is Lindi Jane, who I've known since you were how old, Lindi?
9 years old.
9 years old. My goodness. And it was a strange meeting.
Yes.
An engineered meeting, I would suspect, from you and your mum.
I do believe so.
So I used to produce a program on Channel 9 here called the Channel Niners.
Yes.
And we used to have a live studio audience, and obviously kids would come in often with their parents to watch the show being made because it was live. It really happened there and then. And one day, sitting in the audience, there was this girl who was wearing this dress.
This dress.
Have a look at this dress. Now, you couldn't miss this dress in reality.
I don't think I'll be fitting that now.
Yes.
It's more like an arm sling or something.
Oh, well, I know that. I can't fit in the clothes I was wearing then either.
But 9 years old in this.
That's right. And she had, I can't remember whether you had a bag or a cover or what you had, but you had a character sitting next to you, which was really very obvious, whose name was?
Charlie.
Charlie, yes.
And you've asked me to bring him along today, and he is here.
Now, Charlie's probably quite old now, I suspect.
He's very old.
And probably very fragile, because in these days, there really weren't much choice for a vent doll, was there?
No, this is definitely a John Martin special.
A John Martin special. Charlie, I haven't seen you for something frighteningly like 40
I can't
years.
see you.
Oh, well, make an
I'm
effort.
too old.
You are too old. Open your eyes,
He's
Charlie.
opening up his eyes, but he's a pensioner now. He's
Yes,
very retired.
well, aren't we all?
And I think even his mouth, because when I was on New Faces, Bert Newton had to organise some help with Peter Feynman, which was really lovely. His mouth just snapped just before the show. Oh. And so they fixed it, and it's still a little bit cranky even today, but well, he was fantastic to use.
It still
all these
works,
years.
but I still remember with great pleasure, I remember. I've got a shirt like that, Charlie, by the way, exactly the same. I remember with great fondness seeing this little girl sitting in the studio audience and clearly saying, "Pick me, pick me." So we did.
Definitely.
And the interesting thing was, in those days, there was really nobody writing material, particularly for a young girl of your age.
No, definitely
So
not.
what did Charlie and you talk about?
Well, we talked about football. We talked about, at the time we were doing church shows as well, we talked about that. Mm-hmm. We talked about circuses, school, definitely school. And that was a lot to remember for a 10-year-old too. I had to study after school and everything to remember all the lines with Charlie. Well,
because you didn't really have, apart from your mum, you didn't have anybody really coaching you as to how to make this happen.
It was amazing. I mean, it started from the heart surgery when I was in hospital, and my mum and my grandpa gave me a puppet. And the rest is history. I just talk to myself for a living now and still do.
But did you initially talk to your hand?
I did. I had a little puppet called Lucy, which appeared on Hey Hey It's Saturday with me.
Right.
And that little puppet was my best friend, and that's what Grandpa and Mum gave me.
Right.
And so she was always there with me, and then along came Charlie.
Well, Charlie, I'm sorry we have to say I'm sorry.
He's exhausted. He didn't get out of
I'm
the
sorry we
case.
have to say goodbye to you, but not quite like that, please.
I've had it.
No, I don't think you've had it. I think you're a museum piece now.
He definitely is a museum piece, especially with this lovely suntan that he's got there.
Yes.
I've been to Bali too.
Oh, have you now? I think you need to go to the hairdresser. Your hair looks like it needs a bit of conditioning.
He needs to see your lovely makeup lady, Natalie.
Yes, that's what it is. Well, bye, Charlie.
I'll pass him on because that will show the next part of the story. There
yes,
you go, Charlie.
Over the years, Lindi Jane has done so many different things. But of course, as time goes on, you find different niches in the market, if you like. And the different niches have brought an original idea, because I've never seen a character like this.
Really?
Really? I never have. Are you
On Snap Crocodilus.
I
At your
understand.
service. Ta-da!
Where did you come from, Snap?
An egg? Did come from an egg?
Ask an obvious question. What part of the world did you come from, Snap?
Kakadu. Yeah. Kakadu National
Oh,
Park.
and that's why you're part of...
Snap's Kakadu Club. SKC TV. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Well, I do know that programs with Snap, and you, of course, and a whole multitude of other characters
Yes.
are appearing all over the place on community television, but also, of course, online on...
On Snap's Kakadu Club, well, it's SKC TV, but you can find us through Instagram, on Lindi Jane 3 at the moment, and on Facebook there's Snappy Productions, which is our little venture, and that's SKC TV. But we are revamping everything for our new series. Yeah. Excellent fun.
Fantastic. Oh, excellent fun.
Yes, I really like it.
Do you?
Yeah, I get out of the case. It's true.
Well, of course they do. Look, do you think you have two heads working at the same time, two brains?
I know a lot of people sort of say that. It's like mixed personalities and that. But it's acting, and it is a little bit of a split. But it's, well, like a drummer. I drum as well and sing. But there's also guitarists that can play and sing. That's separating the mind.
Yes, I understand
so
what you
it's
mean by
really
that.
clever. Just
But
like character comedy.
Yeah, but who's the clever one, you or
Hey,
Lindi Jane?
Yeah, of course you'd say that. Oh, good, she pays me.
Does she now?
No, he's actually the most sparkiest in thoughts, but sometimes you can be a bit tired and it's like, how's this puppet going to talk? But most of the time, no. Snap seems to lead the roost. Yeah.
So who writes your material, or do you ad-lib it as you go? How does it
Ad-lib,
all happen?
A lot of it. The kids' TV show, SKC TV, it's just a concept, and from there, the poor crew has to just listen, and they know that it's going to have a top and a tail, but whatever I say in the middle, we say it naturally.
Well, again, and that gets back
I
to
never know what she's saying.
Really?
No.
But
no,
is
I've
it-
got to get a word in. Yeah.
Is it a situation, though, of sort of, do you map out where segments are going to go first? Or are you
Definitely.
just
No.
purely rimming off the top of your
No, I
head?
definitely have the visions first, and that all comes from my lovely mum writing the scripts when I was younger. And then by 17, she said, "You can do it now." And so I started doing it. And from there, I got the concepts from just listening to conversations around me.
Right.
And also talking to herself, talking to myself.
Yes.
Rehearsing.
But did
people
you
that I
start
work
off
with.
by rehearsing in a mirror?
Yes,
How did all this happen?
Definitely started working, doing all the mirror work, which is you do all the mouth movements if you're hopefully not moving. Yours is, all right, but hopefully not moving. And you practice with that and with the character movement, the automation of the characters. So puppet automation is major. I mean, Jim Henson was a genius at it, and quite a few other puppeteers.
But you know, when I first met you at the age of 8, I was incredibly impressed, because in my life I've had the great pleasure of working with a lot of people that work within the variety industry and in vaudeville.
Yeah.
So these were people who I'd watched, who I'd seen, who I'd heard advice from and so on. And a lot of magicians saw ventriloquism as part of their overarching, I suppose it is the magic of belief that what you're saying is real.
Yeah, it's the trickery of the eye and the ear. Distant voice. Well, are you? Yeah, where is that? You
Yes,
know, things
exactly.
like
In the
that,
case over
yeah.
there. But primarily it was humanoid characters.
Yes.
That always looked a bit sort of disjointed, and I always thought as a kid, why don't they stuff the legs or give them the right size shoes, or actually give them some sort of arm that looks like, you know. But you're perfect in every detail.
Thank you. He is like a little baby. He's made by Jeff Smart in the UK, and I was very honoured. I designed him in a picture, and then he was born in 1989. I'm getting old, yeah.
Well, you haven't
and he's
aged a
starting
bit.
to look a little bit, you know, a little bit rugged around the edges. But he was just out of an idea. And I said, well, I love crocodiles, and I loved Steve Irwin at the time. So I sort of grew up with that, and I thought,
Isn't that
no.
interesting that he should have that effect on a ventriloquist?
Yeah, I guess I love crocodiles. I actually do love scaly creatures.
Okay.
She's weird, I told you.
Oh, well, She still likes her mum as well. Or did
Yeah,
I say
she
that?
does.
Yeah, you just think about that.
I'm going to think about that.
But, yes, exactly. But
Bum.
there aren't many female events around the world, to my knowledge.
There
There's a
is.
few.
Yeah, there is,
Like Shari
yeah.
Lewis had an enormous effect on everybody with Lamb Chop.
Yes, definitely.
And-
And Mallory Lewis, her daughter, has taken that up. And
Oh, right.
she
Okay.
still performs. A friend on the Facebook becomes a friend for life.
Yes.
And she's always working lamb chop all around the States and PBS. I think she's approached for TV shows.
Right.
So she's still keeping lamb chop going. Yeah,
Well-
who was a girl? Oh, because a lot of people think lamb chop was a boy.
Yes, is a
But
girl.
It's a girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, a girl that looks a sheep. I'm trying to think. A lamb that
It's
looks
a
like
ram.
that. A lamb isn't a ram. Isn't necessarily a ram.
No,
Exactly.
it's definitely a girl.
Exactly.
And it's not nothing dressed up as lamb. No,
Boom, boom.
it's not. Dun, dun.
We'll be back to talk more with Lindi Jane and some of her other friends in just a tick. Welcome back to Our Time. Our special guest is Lindi Jane, a ventriloquist extraordinaire. Your friends have just gone for a minute.
Oh, yes.
And we
yes.
can just talk about you, because they'll take over.
They do, every time.
So, whilst you're Australian and you've worked in Australia a lot, and you've added so much to your career
Yes.
with singing and
Yes,
playing drums
definitely,
and
yes.
all these other things, making TV programs and stuff. But over the years, we just talked a minute ago about the fact that you were on the Channel 9ers when you were 8 years old until you were
12.
12.
Yep.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
it's wonderful that you had that start in a way, because you were going into people's homes right from the beginning. So
Yes.
in a way, your career has been documented on telly all these years.
It has been.
Who would have thought?
I didn't even know. I was looking for me on Wikipedia just to see if I've gone that level. And I couldn't find it, but
No, you
then
gotta do
I
it
found
yourself.
the kids show.
You
You
do it
can't do
yourself.
it yourself. I'll try and find it. But
Well-
it is an honour to be able to do that, and to start with your lovely self on the TV, in the TV world. And I was so nervous, but my character, as you saw, they take over. Yes, I'm glad they're looking around the studio now and they're not here. It's nice to be free sometimes. And, you know, I was just so scared at that time. And from
Well,
there,
it's very daunting, isn't
Yeah,
it, really?
was. I was like,
But in those days, it was very daunting because people didn't have mobile phones. They weren't used to seeing themselves constantly on the screen.
Definitely.
And in those days, you couldn't rush home and see yourself because it was all live.
Yeah.
Nothing was recorded.
I know, those were the days. The
But
brilliance of
you've
it.
travelled all around the world doing
I
all sorts of
have.
stuff. And
I
we've got a
have been
couple of
so
shots of you in
fortunate.
some interesting places.
Yes.
This first one is in the UK in
Yeah.
front of...
The Buckingham Palace, of course. Why
Did you
not?
see the Queen?
No, we didn't, but we pretended to. I actually did a little mockumentary with BBC Three, but unfortunately it didn't go ahead, and we just...
Oh, what a shame.
I know, we basically just filmed it for a bit of fun, but it was worth doing. It was
And there are all these
fantastic.
other things you've done and other people. Just talk about some of these.
With most of the television shows, of course, Young Talent Time, Johnny Young was a big supporter of what I was doing as well. And Bobby Lim from the early days, we mentioned earlier.
You're just
And
saying he changed your name slightly.
he changed my name slightly to have it flow so everybody knew Lindi Jane, and it did work. And we've had our trials and tribulations through my career. I know that I've been about here, and then I've been about here.
Because your
But
real
that's-
name is Amanda Mugglesworth or something.
It's, yes. It is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yes. That's all
But
right.
I just wanted to experiment more and just say yes to everything within reason.
It's
And
the
I
only
did.
way, actually, to
It
live
is.
your life in show business. Otherwise, you don't get to do anything. Who else have you performed with and worked with?
Gosh, well, David Strasman, of course, the cheeky one. We have a love-hate relationship if he watches this. And the lovely Gordon Ross, he's been around since I was very young, and he's on my new TV show, SKC TV. So you'll be able to see that on, you know, on 44, but also online very soon. And he was a beautiful influence and designed my ventriloquist dolls that I added to my collection.
Right.
And then over the years, I got more characters, more voices. And then I decided, it was at a party, somebody said to me, a dad came over and he goes, like this, and I said, yeah, g'day, and he goes, you're good at singing, have you ever thought about doing it for a living? So from there I started going, he did talk like that, and I went into studios, I started doing jingles, then from there I ended up backing up, you know, some people that you probably don't even know from LA, and a few other people I had the chance with, even Normie Rowe, I've had some fun with him in positive ways, and I've just moved on, started writing more children's shows, which I came out with a CD.
Yes, this little CD.
And all these songs just came out of nowhere. And that CD, it's a CD, not a DVD. We're hoping to have DVDs by the end of this year for the new show.
Right.
That has just sold over and over again. And yet everything is either Spotify, but people still love.
But there's all these other characters as well.
Oh, yes. Bonza. Yeah, he's the big dog character. We have to have that, seeing we both love Humphrey.
Yes, absolutely.
Fluffy feline. She's a cat that's a little bit wrong. She's mainly grumpy with the kids, but she does a little bit more saucy sort of act for the adults.
Right. Well, that's the thing. You have a kids show and an adult show as well.
Well, you had to. You've got to know where your bread and butter, you know, I mean...
Well, it's the stand-up comedy aspect, isn't it,
Yeah.
really?
And that's hard.
Well, it is.
That would be the hardest genre.
But
you're
in the old terminology, a sight act, because you're something to look at doing this, not just to listen to or as music would be or so on.
Yeah, they don't come up and look at me very closely when I'm singing and drumming. They sort of take photos and that, but when you're ventriloquising, they're like, this is...
Couldn't the drums talk? Couldn't you open something with your foot pedal and make it chat?
Funny how you say that. I am writing a new show for the cabaret, so hopefully 23, it should be ready.
Oh, fantastic.
2023. Yeah.
Well, if we're still on air, come back and talk about... I've been watching your mum sitting over there.
I know.
And when I was first booking you to do the kids' show, it was your mum I was always talking to.
I know.
And we never, ever got her on camera, but I've insisted, come and join us, because...
Come on, Mum.
Without mums... when you're a kid, it would never happen, would it?
Definitely wouldn't happen. And you get your mum once, so you have to look after them.
Well, that's true. Come on, Mum. Come on in.
Don't be shy.
We've got the chair.
Drum roll.
Oh, well, you can do that.
TV debut.
I would stand up and be polite, but I do remember, though, back in the early days, talking to you on the phone, because we actually had a phone to talk.
Yes, we did.
That's how we always booked people. You can tell that you're mother and daughter.
Oh, no.
You know what you're going to look like soon.
I know, but you know that every child says, I don't want to look like Mum.
No. But frankly, without you to help and guide her, where would you be?
I don't think we would have been anywhere because, you know, asking anybody about it and what can I do...
Yeah, where do you go?
Where do I go? They all looked at me as if I was a bit of a mother... pushy mum.
Stage mum.
Yeah. And it hurt, you know, it really did, because all of my time of doing things for her was hoping that this would give her some life. Because when you think, for 6 years before she came in, she'd had 2 major heart operations.
That's amazing, isn't it? Yes, I remember talking about that.
Oh, the first one just didn't go well. And so we had to wait for the body to heal, and then the next one was successful. And
well, clearly, because
that's right.
Yes. But now, for example, the dress that we saw her in the program, did you pick the dress?
No, a girlfriend who now doesn't exist, poor girl, you know, she's gone. She used to make them clothes.
All right.
And Lindy must have said to her, I need a pretty dress because I'm going to go on the stage at...
was it Channel 9?
Channel 9,
right.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go on.
Yeah.
Mum organised.
So you figured that if you came... Did you figure that if you came in the audience wearing something with a puppet...
Everyone said, you know, the stage mum. Mum wasn't. It was me. I was like, I want to be there. I want to do that. Please, I need to do this show.
I think
that's what I was like.
I think that's also the sign of what I'd call a real one, someone who's going to be a performer. But did you have a performance history yourself?
I was a mischief child.
Oh, well, you know.
You can see where I get it from.
And in fact, people would come to visit my parents, or my mother particularly, And the first thing they'd say at the front door is, where's that young one? And one of my favourite was, I had a spider on a string and I'd go behind the couch and I'd dangle the spider in front of them. And how they lived, I don't know. But
So this mischievous element came from mother to daughter, and still I suspect is in the mother. But the point is, was Mum the inspiration for anything, or was this something that you were basically born into?
I was never taught ventriloquism.
Right.
I don't know why I picked it up, apart from adoring Shari Lewis and Chris Kirby, who unfortunately has gone to heaven.
But did you know that they were ventriloquists, or
no,
you just liked the idea?
I adored Sesame Street, and I love Jim Henson. Actually, I coach now ventriloquism as well, and Chris Elkington, he just adores Jim Henson too. So we have this, oh, look at this puppet, oh, look at this puppet, and that's what I was like as a child. And then from there, from the puppet in hospital, it just smooth sailed. I just studied and had looked at as much as I could out there of what other people were doing, and then it clicked.
Right.
What Shari Lewis was doing, then what Edgar Bergen was doing.
Well,
and
he
there
was,
were all the old
but he
greats.
wasn't that. I mean,
he was the best puppet animator, and he did move his mouth.
he moved his mouth because he was a radio star. I think that's hysterical that
and
he
I
was a
did radio
ventriloquist on
too.
radio.
Yeah, with you know, with Peter Goes and ABC and a few other stations. But Mum, just digressing back to that dress, she just said, yeah, you can wear that, and this lovely lady made it for me. Mum booked the seat for me to go there, and then when she went to the canteen at Channel 9, our Uncle Adrian was working there, who's an old school friend. And
I didn't know he was the canteen.
Came and spoke to
Well,
you
see,
and
it was
said,
all meant to be.
yeah, heads up that I was going to be in the audience, and that's where it all came from.
This is, in a funny sort of way, a full circle of life, isn't it?
It is.
It's brilliant.
Speaking of a full circle, our time is almost there, but we've got one more segment after this break. And welcome back. Our special guests are Lindi Jane, the ventriloquist, and her mum. Look, it's nice to see you back.
Nana!
Nana.
That's my crocodile Nana!
Do you feel warmly towards these characters, your child's children?
Yes, I do.
When they look at you, do you have love and warmth in your eyes?
She does. She's just as weird. No, it's not. No, she does love my characters.
Well, you know,
Walks around with them.
Well, having a child that is suddenly going to go off into show business, interstate first of all, then overseas, and to odd places around the world, it must be a mother's concern.
It is. It is. I can tell you right now, Malcolm, she's returned 6 months ago. I have a new life. And it sounds terrible because I've got my other daughter.
Yes.
But she's the academic.
Yes. And so what are you
She's the
calling this
clever one.
daughter?
Oh,
If the
come
other's
on,
an
I'm
academic,
clever.
this one's
She thinks she's...
trial,
This one
a
tests
worry.
me in every way.
We're too similar, I'd say. Yeah, we can be, and are mischievous. Yeah, we're very mischievous. Yeah, me too. Oh, yeah, you are as
Yes. We realise that, and you're quite expensive as well.
well. Yeah, exactly. I am. Remember that. Gold.
So, of all the places you've been, and of all of the characters that you've played, you've got the two shows. You've got the children's show.
Yep, and
you've
the
got the adult
show, Puppet Talk. Yep.
But you've got the TV show.
And I've got the music.
You've got this.
Kids
You're
CD.
singing.
Dave Drummond
You're
and
playing
some blonde
drums.
chick, yep.
And you came home in the middle of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, don't start us.
Well, I hope you didn't bring any COVID from.
I didn't.
No, from the Northern
chosen
Territory.
3. None
Oh.
in this crocodile. No. No.
Excellent.
No, we're
Look,
very, very healthy, but yeah.
It's been absolutely wonderful to see you both again after
great.
literally after all these years.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because I've always followed your career whenever I've seen anything about you anywhere, and I've always felt a little bit of pride that I was in a position to give you a chance to get on telly in the first place.
Definitely.
And I
Thank
always
you.
felt that about
Yeah.
you.
No, but it's been just lovely. It really is.
I didn't know you then, but
No,
I thank you.
you were still an egg.
I know, that's it.
Exactly.
And now I put up with her hand somewhere it shouldn't be forever. That's right.
Right. Look, I wish you the greatest success in the future, and I hope that you go to great heights in the show business world in the future as you both grow older together.
Oh, I hope not. She's
And
getting
Mum,
older than me.
You have to be proud.
I am proud.
Yeah.
I'm proud in different ways with my eldest, you know, but this one just livens me.
And it's rare that we've got an opportunity to talk to somebody with their mum about those times.
It's beautiful.
And
Thank
speaking
you.
about time, it is time for us to say goodbye. Thanks so much to both of you for being on the program. Thank you for watching.
Ciao.
So until next time on Our Time, keep yourself nice till then. Bye.